So here's that nice oak that I got. I don't know if you've seen the video. Of course I don't. How could I possibly know that? I've made one side of it all nice and smooth and shiny. It is nice. I do like the dark, well, the dark-ish grain on oak, but the other side is still fairly rough. So what I'm going to do is play a wee bit with my nice new thicknesser to just take, I don't know, 1 millimeter off the top there. And I've got my dust extractor hooked up to it, so I'll get that going first and then I'll put this through and we'll see how it looks. Okay, now, well, you can see the result, can't you? That's lovely and smooth on each side. Although I used a thicknesser, I actually didn't check to see what the thickness was that I was cutting it down to. Doesn't really matter given what I'm going to do with this, which is a technique called bookmatching. I say that with such confidence, but the truth is I've never even attempted this before, and I have a rough idea of how to do it. Let's do it. And it's called bookmatching, this method, because you literally open the wood up now like a book. And I don't know how well you'll be able to see this grain, but it is very nice. And I will now cut another piece of here so that I am using this surface and this surface, and they will be the two surfaces that make the top of the guitar, and they will be glued together. So I've cut the second piece, and as is often the case, there's something I now need to correct. This is the end where I started cutting. All very well. I think I cut it about 17 mils, so a little bit more than I needed. But what I didn't realise is that for some reason the tension on my bandsaw blade was well, not very high. It was quite slack. So as I cut through, the blade began to bow, so the other end looks like that. Now I can fix that with the thicknesser. That's easy enough to do. So I will thickness this now and get that to the right shape. I'm declaring victory on my first ever attempt at book matching some wood. That's gone really well. So it isn't a really dark grain, but it is, I don't know, it's a fairly pronounced grain. It's a very straight grain, which is quite striking in this case. And as you can see, it's perfectly symmetrical, the light and dark patterns on each side. So that'll go really nicely on the top of a guitar. So let's get the two halves of this book-matched Australian oak top glued together. So I've clamped one of the pieces down for stability, and it's difficult to glue two flat-ish pieces together, thin pieces together at the edge to make one piece. What can sometimes happen is a piece will lift up. So what I'll do is I will obviously put glue in there, as one does when one is gluing things together, and then I will clamp them that way together, pressing them together at the edge, and then I will clamp this second piece down as well, just to stop that from lifting. I like a nice flat result. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. So let us begin. Using Gorilla Glue again, trying to use not very much. I won't need a lot because the actual size of the surfaces being joined is pretty small, but inevitably I will use more than I need. It's better than using not quite enough. Better to have a little bit to scrape away than to have your wood not stuck together properly. Now, there's a little bit of give in these ones at the moment because the tightness in holding these things together is the most important pressure. So I want to get that right first, then worry about holding them down. It worries me that there is a line of glue being pressed out until there, then there's nothing, and then it starts to be pressed out again. It's unlikely. Oh, if I look carefully, can I see the shininess of glue in that crack? Yes, I can. So maybe we're okay. I'll just put another clamp on. Okay. I feel better now, because now that I've tightened this up, I can just see a bit of shiny glue rising to the surface of that crack, which assures me that there is enough glue in there to be pressed out, because you want the glue to be basically squeezed out of the join. Okay, I think we're good. I think we've got a pretty tight clamp down the join, and there's no way those boards are going to be lifting up. So I will leave that overnight to glue. Right, now that my top is all glued up, I'm just going over it with a number 6 plane, a nice long one for long flat surfaces, just to make sure it's nice and, well, flat, in particular along the glue join. I like planer shavings. There's something very satisfying about making them. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I did have the camera sitting up on the bench here, but it shakes around a bit and the camera went tumbling to the floor, so I've moved you so you don't suffer that fate again. I'm not an expert planer by any means. I'm not an expert at many things by any means. But one thing I've picked up by watching others, and I'm discovering that it is quite effective when planing a top like this, is that you don't plane straight ahead. You don't have your plane at a 90-degree angle like so. You turn it just ever so slightly to the left or to the right, and it becomes an easier job. So with the book-matched Australian oak top, I say that a lot, don't I? Book-matched Australian oak top instead of just top. It sounds more impressive. With the top now glued up and planed and sanded, it looks perfect. Something has to go wrong soon. Everything that I'm doing at the moment, which you haven't seen yet, but I'm making a nice neck. You'll find out about that shortly. Everything seems to be going too well. All the results are just as I would hope. I'm just waiting for me to smash something. It'll happen, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I am past that phase. We'll see, but I doubt it. But there we are. One nicely book-matched Australian oak top to be used in my next project, which you will now find out about.